We last time we were talking about the B vitamins, and we were getting some concept of how important these vitamins are. And we just got a chance to talk about one B vitamin, and there are quite a few, but I'm going to talk about some more today because we don't want to miss out on the benefits of vitamin B for our health. So let me just show you a little bit here and start with vitamin B2. Now, last time we spoke about vitamin B1, and today we'll go on to B2. And vitamin B2 is actually called riboflavin or riboflavin. And the folks that are at the most risk for getting a deficiency in this vitamin are alcoholics. They don't have a great diet. The alcohol damages the lining of the GI tract, so they can't absorb vitamins well. So they're at a really big risk for vitamin deficiencies. The elderly also don't tend to absorb as well, and pregnant and lactating females, because pregnancy is a very demanding period for the body. A new life is being formed, and that new life takes a lot of the energy from the mom. And so young women, pregnant women need to be very mindful of increasing their greens during their time of fertility. It's not a time to subsist on fast food and not get your salads in. Really, if you're thinking about conceiving, you need to increase your greens. You need to increase your beans, your peas, your nuts, your seeds, because you need those vitamins for the baby to grow well. So that's important for our young women to keep in mind. B2, vitamin B2 is important for energy. It helps to metabolize carbs. And by now we know that carbs are our source of energy. That's our fuel. That's what we need to eat most of to get energy to function well. And the carbs that we should eat are unprocessed carbs, not the processed carbs. Those are not our friends. Unprocessed carbs like yams, potatoes, really heavy multigrain breads, plantains, yuca, those are good carbs, and those give energy. And vitamin B2 helps to break those down, helps to metabolize it so we can get all the energy that we need. B2 is also used to produce red cells. And red cells carry oxygen throughout the body. So without oxygen, you're going to be really, fatigued and not thinking so well. So it's important for helping oxygen get around. It helps with repairing tissue within our body, and it helps to synthesize cortisol. Now, cortisol is an important hormone that helps us in times of stress. When you're under stress, whether it be mentally, physically, you're going through a surgery, you got into a car accident, and the stress is great, you need the cortisol to help you to fight and repair in your body. B2 is a part of that whole reaction and that whole process. It's also important for the retina, the pigment in the back of your eye, so you can see well. So you see, vitamin B2 is very essential, and we don't want to miss out on it. If you don't have enough of it, you will be fatigued. Your vision could be poor. And I have this picture here to show that it's also linked to cracked lips. A lot of times when we have cracked, dry lips, we just think we need more chapsticks. We think we need more Vaseline on our lips. But that's not the problem. That's just putting a Band-Aid on the issue, right? Sometimes the issue with dry, cracked lips can be dehydration. That's a very common cause. But another cause could be malnutrition, not getting the right nutrients, one of them being vitamin B. So that's important to keep in mind when you see, the corners of your lips are cracking, those annoying, painful cracks. B2 deficiency should be considered. And also decreased fertility. If one is in a situation where they are not conceiving, it's been a whole year, and you're not able to conceive, consider B2 deficiency. Get your B vitamins up. And so how do we do this? Should we just take a pill of B vitamin? Well, my stance is get it from the food, get it from the right foods. Certainly if you need a pill of a vitamin, I'm not speaking against that, but that should not be the main source of vitamin replacement. The main foundational source should be from our foods, and the sources: wheat germ has a lot of B2 vitamin in there. But to be honest with you, Pastor, wheat germ is not cheap. And I don't even buy it that often because, per pound is quite expensive. So other foods that are more affordable that you can get B2 would be like your leafy greens. And this time, there's an abundance of leafy greens everywhere. Your kale, your Swiss chard, asparagus, callaloo, spinach, so many more. Those are high in vitamin B2. Also, your nuts, peanuts are very good for B2. Those are one of your cheapest nuts, actually. Legumes, your lentils, your peas, your beans, whole grains. Oats are also very good in B2, and soybeans. So these are foods that you want to have a lot of every single day. And when you eat lots of these foods, you are guaranteed to get the vitamins you need to have energy, to not be so weak and listless, and to help repair the mechanisms in your body. B3. Vitamin B3 is called niacin. And it's also used in
Doc, if
energy.
I may ask, are
Yes.
all the vitamins named like that? I mean, I've never heard another name for vitamin C, for example. But some of these others, why are some named? Are all of them named? We just don't know their names, or
You know what? You probably haven't put them together, but you may have heard the term ascorbic acid. Have you heard that term before?
yes, I have.
Yeah, that's vitamin C.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, yeah. Because
I
did you
see.
just say vitamin C is not named? Is that what you
Right,
said?
that's what I'm saying. I never heard them use it referring to vitamin C by another name.
Okay, yes.
Right.
So yes, they all have their names. They all have their,
Oh, I see.
their scientific names. You know that in medicine we have to have a separate jargon, right? We can't have you understand everything that we're saying. So so we have to have a whole separate jargon. And yes, all of these have their own names. Some of them are really long and elaborate, and you have to study and really memorize them. But the easier ones are just the letters, vitamin A, B, C, D. But they all have their names. Yes, they sure do.
I
And I
see.
and I
Okay.
like to mention them, I guess, just because the scientist in me, I like to give you the full information.
No, but it's just that sometimes when I do read the vitamins, some will say B or C, then others will have the names like
Yes.
riboflavin, whatever. I'm not sure what determined why on the food labels they'll have either or, you see.
Yes, no, you're right. You're right. They do go by various names, and it's useful to be familiar with sometimes the other names because you may not realize that what is in the bottles of what you're taking. But yes, they do. They all do have their separate fancy labels to go with them. Niacin is one that is used quite a bit in medicine, where we'll actually give you a prescription for niacin because it can help to decrease cholesterol. And it's funny, niacin is found in plants and in animals, but the animal niacin version does not decrease cholesterol. Actually, as you know by now, Pastor, all animal products have cholesterol in them.
Right.
So when you're fighting cholesterol, you do not want to eat animal foods. You don't want to eat chicken, beef, pork. And I have to actually say fish because I realize a lot of people don't think that fish is an animal or that fish is
Yes.
meat. Have you come across that?
Yes, I found that a lot because even when you tell people you're vegetarian, they say, "Oh, they want to serve you fish," as if to say fish is not a meat. I just said I'm vegetarian.
You're right. You're right. That
Right.
happened to me just last month. And I didn't make the connection. I was at somebody's home and I clearly said I'm vegetarian, and I was served a sauce with fish in there. And it was very small pieces, so I didn't see it right away. And when I bit into a piece, I said, "Oh my goodness." Then I realized there was fish, and I said, and they didn't make the connection that fish
Yes.
is meat. Fish has cholesterol. Fish has fat. And, whereas you may choose to stay on meat, that's your choice, but you should be well educated and understand that if you're fighting inflammation and cholesterol and fat and diabetes, that's an item you want to remove as well. So just to make it clear for all or listening audience. So niacin, the niacin found in meat products does not reduce cholesterol. Actually, meat will increase your cholesterol. But niacin found in plants, nicotinic acid, will decrease cholesterol, which is a great benefit. When you have a deficiency of B3, it can lead to a really bad disease called pellagra. We don't have it such to this level anymore, because pellagra is real bad deficiency of B3, and now our foods are often enriched with B3 because of what we experienced back in the early 1900s. In 1918, here in the US, there were over 100,000 cases of pellagra, with about 10,000 people dying because of lack of vitamin B3. It was an epidemic in this country. It was mostly in the South. And it was because in the South, especially amongst the African Americans there, the diet consisted a lot of salted pork, corn, and molasses. That's pretty much what they had. They didn't have the fruits, the vegetables, the nuts to help supplement their diet, and they got really bad deficiency, and many of them died. They presented with diarrhea, dermatitis, which is a skin rash, dementia, which is not thinking so clearly, and depression. And these things can still happen even today, but not to such a bad degree, hopefully as in the early 1900s. But symptoms you can certainly get now with B3 deficiency would be like headache, just this constant headache, confusion, having a brain fog, not being able to think straight and put your thoughts together well, sores in your mouth, just random sores, and fatigue. The B vitamins are important for energy, so fatigue is a big factor you'll see when there's lack of B vitamin.
I see.
What are the sources of vitamin B3? Well, bran. You can just get brands separate, oat bran or different brands in the store. But again, these are not cheap. And don't forget, when I taught you about the seed a few weeks back, every seed has its own bran layer. So you can get bran from eating lots of seeds. Also, wheat germ has B3, but every seed has bran, the germ, and the endosperm. So when you eat your seeds, you're getting these things. That's why sesame is one of the highest sources of vitamin B3. And you see, it's important to mix up your seeds. Sesame seed is high in one, like B3. Sunflower seed is high in, say, B1. The different seeds have different levels and ratios of various vitamins and minerals. Legumes are also quite high in vitamin B3, different legumes. Peanuts and peanut butter, very high, just because peanuts are high in it. And we spoke about how to pick a good peanut butter last time. It should not have sugar in the ingredient label. Read your ingredients. It should just have peanuts. Just peanuts. Or if you're buying almond butter, it should just have almonds in your ingredients. It shouldn't have sugar and different agents to preserve it. And of course, your nut butter should have an oil layer at the top, because the oil naturally from the nut should be at the top of the bottle. You should be able to shake it and see the oil moving at the top there. Whole grains also have lots of B3. Your whole grains are your rice, your oats, your millet, nuts, broccoli, potatoes, avocado, and bananas. A point here on your potatoes. When you are making your potatoes, if you're gonna boil them, let's say, leave the skin on. It's helpful to just wash your potatoes and boil them in the skin and eat the skin. Why? Right below that skin is where a lot of your B vitamins and potassium lie. When you peel your potatoes a lot and get them, completely bare and naked, you've discarded a lot of your B vitamins and your potassium. And the skin is edible. So might as well you leave it on. boil it, bake it, and just eat it all together. You get a lot more nutrients that way. B6. B6 is called pyroxidine, and it's actually a vitamin that has been scientifically proven to help decrease that nausea period, that extreme nausea in early pregnancy. It can also help decrease symptoms of PMS in our females, premenstrual syndrome in our females. So that can be very useful there. Its function, it helps to metabolize proteins, carbs, and fat. So it helps you break down and integrate the food into your system. It's needed for red blood cell production. It helps keep the nervous function nice and the nervous system nice and strong, and it helps to produce antibodies. And remember, antibodies are the key fighters in combating infection. So if you are going to fight infection well, bacteria, viruses, parasites, fungi, you need proper ammunition. And the ammunition is the antibodies, which B6 helps you to make. So you see how this is all connected. You need healthy, strong food for your whole system to work properly. What are sources of B6? Well, various cereals have B6 in them. When I have yeast here, I'm talking about nutritional yeast flakes, not the yeast that you bake with, but it's a different type of yeast that's more for flavoring foods, and it has lots of B vitamins in there. It's called nutritional yeast flakes or brewer's yeast. Also, your nuts have B6, legumes, green leafy vegetables.
Now I've lost her completely. And so, anyhow, I trust that you've been finding the presentation useful thus far. And so, you see the importance of having these various B vitamins. One thing that struck me as I listened to the doctor there is that green vegetables, those leafy green vegetables, seem to be very, very important. Good morning, Sister Lushka. Appreciate you joining us. And welcome back, Doc. We lost you there for a moment.
Yes, it just happened all of a sudden. I didn't realize it was what was going on.
Yeah, actually, it was a while. I've been playing doctor over here, reading your slides.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, while
Wow,
you
I
were
didn't know
gone.
that. Oh my
But
goodness.
but but one person asked, what is good for memory? If you mentioned Alzheimer's, you were talking about deficiency. I think it was V6, right? Is that among African Americans? I,
Okay, so yes, okay, yes.
so,
It was a vitamin B3, that when
mhm.
you
So
don't have enough of B3, it can lead to
I've
damaged
lost
memory. And so that
dementia.
vitamin is
So
very
so
important.
the question is to one of our viewers is asking what is good for memory. If you're having memory loss or dementia, what are some vitamins that you should be considering to ensure that?
Yeah. So when it comes to memory, you want to really approach it from a lifestyle perspective. So you want to be very careful that there is adequate rest, adequate sleep. A lot of times, decrease in sleep can lead to difficulty with putting things together properly in the brain. So adequate rest. That individual will want to remove all animal foods from their diet. Fat clogs up the vessels and decreases blood flow to the brain. So somebody with dementia should definitely go on a plant-based diet, fully plant-based diet, removing all cholesterol, and as much fat as possible from their diet. And then when it comes to the vitamins, really increasing the B vitamins is going to be very helpful. And as I heard you say a little bit there, you pointed out that the green leafy vegetables are very rich in B vitamins. So beefing that up, boosting it in the diet for somebody with dementia would be key, really key.
I know, for my self personally, I like to give my personal testimonies, right? You might find them helpful. But
Yes.
most of my life, I have never been able to remember people's names. Tell me your name. It goes in this area and it goes up another. Yeah, it's
Which is
just
not good
just
for
the way
your
it is. And
business.
right, exactly, not the pastor's business. So people really get offended every time you see them. You ask them your name. But I just came to accept that as a part of who I was. Of course, primary reason is because I didn't sleep. I've been sleeping probably 4 hours a night for the past 30 years. So, but of course, I didn't know that was the reason. But what happened was once I got married to Opal, she wouldn't let me get out of bed. I had to stay in bed, and I suddenly found that my memory was better, but I didn't really
Wow.
know why it was better. But you tell me your name, and I'd remember. And so it's funny. So now that you're saying that sleep, is can definitely be a problem, and I find now I have a much better memory than when I was younger, which is interesting.
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
so I'm
yes.
ascribing that to the point that at least now I get 8 hours sleep, you know, and so
Yes.
that's the first time in my life. Yeah.
That is music to my ears because I'm telling you, many of us don't realize how important sleep is. And because we're able to
Yeah.
function with a little sleep, we keep doing it. But if we got
Hmm.
enough sleep, we will be at peak performance. So I'm very
Hmm.
happy for that testimony. Wonderful testimony.
Yeah. Still have
Excellent.
problems staying in bed, but I'm trying.
Yeah,
It's that's
that is
it's
good.
hard to live. Yeah.
That is very, very good.
And so, Sister
Awesome.
Lushka, that's what you need to do. Get some more sleep. She was the person who asked the question, by the way.
Yes, that's key. And it's a complete package. And as we keep going on together every week, we will keep adding more pieces to the package that will give you optimal health. Because honestly,
Hmm.
there's no secret. It's not hidden anywhere. It is what God has clearly prescribed for all humanity to be in excellent health. So we are just highlighting and educating and reminding. But as we put these different aspects together, and as you do them, trusting in God, your health will improve day by day. That's for sure. With B6, I'm gonna finish here on
Oh,
B6.
well, one other person that was asking, if you don't mind, since they're asking,
Yes.
what is good for, they have joint pain. What
Mm-hmm.
kind of food should they be eating for joint pains?
All right. Yes, yes, yes. So for joint pain, it's always good to figure out why are you having joint pain. So it'd be good to have, an evaluation by your physician if possible. So you can see, is your joint pain from inflammation or from deterioration, because of years of use. But what I can say is, regardless of the cause of your joint pain, if you remove certain things, you will likely do much better. One of them is high fructose corn syrup. If there is any high fructose corn syrup in your diet at all, remove it. There have been papers after papers that show that this agent is a big culprit when it comes to inducing joint pain. And in my personal life, I can testify whenever I have anything with high fructose corn syrup, any artificial sweeteners, any white sugar in processed foods, my joints go crazy. I have arthritis, but when I eat a certain way, a plant-based diet, unprocessed, unrefined, I have zero pain, zero, because I'm avoiding
Mm.
high fructose corn syrup, processed and refined foods. So for arthritis, even though I do also recommend a full lifestyle application, so getting your vitamin D in the sun will help, getting regular exercise will help the blood move around in the joints better so that you feel better. But and getting more water will help lubricate the joints. But a big issue is the processed food. And if you can really try, by God's grace, to eat an unprocessed, unrefined, plant-based diet full of fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, and a little bit of nuts, you'll be skipping with joy because your pain will be much decreased or gone.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. So I hope that answers your question because I can prove for myself that it works. And my specialty is arthritis. I'm an arthritis doctor. I'm a rheumatologist. So I studied arthritis with a keen interest. So I know for sure that it works for
Hmm.
arthritis. All right.
Oh.
Thank you for the questions. And I really would love to have maybe one or 2 days a month where we just do questions because everybody has questions and we would really like to address them if, as much as possible. All
Awesome.
right. All right. So what B6 I was just wrapping it up is seen in is found in leafy greens, potatoes, bananas, yellow corn, and we spoke about how to cook our potatoes and get more nutrients, and we'll stop there and continue with our bees on Wednesday because the bees are where it's at right now and we want to make sure we maximize on them.